right, Mark. So obviously, cannabis is kind of a hot topic in the US still for some reason. I'd say for some reason, we still haven't reached consensus on what we want to do with it. And while a lot of states are pulling much further ahead than others in terms of legalization and so on, a lot are dragging behind, and the federal government overall sits at a stalemate. So, where do you see things going? And is the federal government friendly to these businesses popping up working with cannabis?
Yeah, I do see a federal friendly environment. It's been that way since our prior administration. Barack Obama was very friendly. Donald Trump he was friendly too, whether people believe it or not. And it's moving that direction. You know, the states are taking the lead. Federally, they can't do it yet because of the old school mentality. That's really what it is. It's kind of a stigma still on society, set back in the 30s when this stuff became illegal. We're just coming out of prohibition.
Hmm.
So we're within, I would say, 10 years from federal legalization.
Wow, yeah, 10 years is not a long lifespan or long
No.
time span, considering where it's been and how it went from, again, Schedule 1 to being medicinally legal and recreationally legal now in some places. So I'm curious, how do you think the market's going to respond? Obviously, we can look at Canada and what happened there when it went recreational. Do you think the US will respond similarly or bigger?
Bigger. So coming out of this prohibition and all the new technologies with the extractions and the processing involved. So other people that can't smoke or can't use it this way can now use it another way.
Mhm.
So the availability is so much greater. So I see processing being a competitive edge, but I still see the flower market always being the number one. People always go to the flower, but the edibles and the concentrates are up and coming too.
Yeah, that's a good point. And do you see things like more capital, easier loans, better banking happening for cannabis as the years go on here?
Yes, I mean it's been opening up just the last year. Well, we've been going through the conception of our company that a few banks in the area are working with us now. So we're going to have a bricks and mortar bank to go to, whether it's cash or online transactions, either one now, and they're certified and all that. So we feel really promising about the banking here in Michigan, and then the software that's interconnected, seed to sale software. It's interlinked with the banking system, so it's really a new era.
Yeah, that's a good point. And the technology, the speed at which technology has been working in the cannabis industry is kind of unparalleled now. Once those floodgates were starting to open a little bit, you're seeing brand new technologies, I guess, like black box, for instance, coming into play.
Yeah, and that's what got me interested years ago. I saw the relevance and the potential in the cannabis industry, and I knew as an engineer, and especially as a research scientist engineer, and I love cannabis. To be honest, it's one of the greatest things God has given us. So I knew a long time ago that would be a field to get into, and there wouldn't be a lot of people into it because 10 years ago, when it was like 12 years ago when I graduated, nobody was into it and you couldn't even really talk about it amongst your peers at the university level. So but now things are changed, and so I'm glad I stuck with it because now I have that 10, 12 years experience with the cannabis and the engineering, put two and together.
All right, now let me ask you more of a societal question here. Now this is a tough one. Obviously, there's still somewhat of a stigma around cannabis. It's largely waned. It's largely waned. Most people are over it. Even a lot of the older generations that were against it are seeing at least the medicinal side, the benefits of it, right? A lot of the chronic pains, nausea, and issues there. How long do you think the stigma is just gone, and when it's just treated like alcohol?
Yeah, so it's going to be a generational thing. So our generation has accepted it. My parents' generation still on the fence. They personally, coming from Italy, they're immigrants. It was illegal. So until it became legal, they wouldn't even think about it. It was like that. But now that it's legal, it's starting to change their mind a little bit.
Mhm.
But the old school generation's always going to have that stigma because they grew up with it. So we're growing up with something different, and eventually it will just be like alcohol or anything else.
Yeah, very well said. And do you see any other regulations coming into play? Any big changes in that landscape?
Absolutely, this market has barely been regulated, not especially in the concentrates where they're going to be doing the food processing and this and that. The flower is much easier because they just do the testing of the flower, make sure there's no pesticides and all that stuff. So that one has been really easy to regulate. What's really going to start being regulated, and you see this with the energy, is there's going to be carbon tax credits. So any of these warehouses that are just not thinking about energy efficiency or things of that nature, they're going to be unfortunately dinosaurs in the near future because of the carbon tax credits that will be coming down the pipeline.
Anything else you want to mention about the cannabis landscape in the US that you see coming?
Yeah, I'm really optimistic, especially here in Michigan. It's here to stay. We're here to grow and we're here to build.
Awesome, Mark. Well, again, thank you for coming on. Thank you for taking the time to walk us through this. And if you guys have anything you want to add about the cannabis landscape in the US, let us know and we'll happily dive into it. But for now, stay tuned for more videos coming soon. And Mark, again, have a wonderful day.
Thank you, you too.